Amanda, what do you know about Hippocratic Oath?
HIPAA?
HIPAA and Hippocratic Oath had nothing to do
Then
with
I
each
know
other.
nothing about it.
HIPAA is a law that has been enacted for decades now that says that you cannot disclose any patient information
Well, the
without patient
Hippocratic
permission.
Oath means do no harm, right?
Well, yes, I mean, that is a good part of the Hippocratic Oath, but everybody knows that part: do no harm. Primo non nocere. First, do no harm. By the way, primo non nocere is Latin. Hippocratic Oath from Hippocrates. He wasn't Roman. He didn't speak Latin. So, and it is a lots of misconception about that Hippocratic Oath and so on. Um, and first of all, we have to know who was Hippocrates. Who was he?
A scholar.
Now, a philosopher, yeah, the father of we are talking about 2,500 years ago. At that time, human knowledge was pretty much limited. That you didn't have like a chemist or a physicist or engineer and so on. You had just lover of knowledge.
Thinkers.
Yeah, thinkers, lover of knowledge, philosopher. Okay, that's what philosopher means. It's
And
a lot.
Layla's a philosopher, your daughter.
Yeah, my daughter is as a PhD in philosophy, and he's actually studying the American. Um, I think is he. She's actually her title of the dissertation is the political ev- evolution of modern American society. So and she's doing it in Germany, actually in Heidelberg.
That must be real. I would love to see it from an outsider's
Oh,
perspective.
I think it's a lots of dry stuff there
Yeah,
because
but I'm sure a Persian can make something interesting.
Persian. She's not Persian. She's German.
Isn't she your daughter?
Yes, but she didn't grow up in Germany. She didn't
Yeah,
grow up in Iran. She's
but you're her dad. Come on.
no, she's maybe genetically half Persian, but she's culturally
Yeah, I've seen
hundred
I've seen her
percent.
dancing. She can make it exciting.
So, 2,500 years ago, we had only lover of knowledge, philosophers. So, and Hippocrates was a lover of knowledge. He was a philosopher, but he has a lot of medical knowledge, and I think that is why we call him the father of medicine, because he investigated the human body diseases and so on, and obviously that is an important thing. First, do no harm. Obviously, we always want to help patient. Nobody intend to do harm to patient, but that's, I guess, is given. But
Unless you're a psychopath, because throughout history there have been a few.
I'm sure it has been, and there is still
Yeah, I mean,
that
there was
people who.
just
But
recently
you
a
know,
nurse in the UK who was going around killing babies like last year.
yeah, yeah, and first, do no harm is actually part of the Hippocratic Oath that he encouraged the um, doctors to take. Just simple rules that enable somebody, I would say, in his time to be, um, um, I would say, ethical,
Like a code of ethics.
a code of ethic for his time. But there are lots of things in that original Hippocratic Oath that you would, if you understand what they are, it make you really cringe. So if somebody comes and say, "Oh, I took a Hippocratic Oath," and so on, um, and say, "Oh, so you swore to Asclepius and all the other gods that you never do surgery," because part of Hippocratic Oath is that you should let the surgery or cutting to the barbers. You shouldn't do, or oh, you took an oath that you would treat this. If you go there, you don't have. Uh, sex with the slaves of the household. Is that the oath you took? Because that is in the Hippocratic oath. That because they had slaves, obviously, then, right? So what part of the Hippocratic oath is that when you go to somebody's house, you just treat them and you won't have sex with their slaves. So when somebody um, who was it? Not long ago that said, "Oh, you don't take Hippocratic oath seriously. You are unethical." So, oh, whoa, you took a Hippocratic oath that you. Why are you surgeon then? Because that's the Hippocratic oath that. Now let's read actually.
No,
Hippocratic.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to pull it up, and probably the sex part. ChatGPT is saying it's not allowed. It's not designed
go
to
to
provide.
go to just put original Hippocratic oath. So we have much better thing than Hippocratic oath, but the gist of it, I guess, the gist of it is still true. And yeah, Hippocratic oath. I think that's a good place to see that. The text of the oath here. Let me read the true text of the
That's right
Hippocratic
on
oath.
the.
I see that.
Yeah.
So I swear to Apollo, healer, and Asclepius by Hygienia and by Panthea, these are all the gods, and by all gods and goddesses. Oh, good. At least there are goddesses included, making them my witness that I will carry out according to my ability and judgment this oath and indenture. So, first of all, well, did you swear to all those gods and goddesses? So you see where I'm going, right?
Yeah. To hold my teacher in this art equal to my own parents, to make him partner in my livelihood. When he is in need of money, to share mine with him. So, to share your own money with your teacher. To
Mhm.
consider his family as my own brothers and to teach him this art if they want to learn it without fee or indenture. To impart.
Wait for a second. First of all, it says that whoever taught me, I'm going to teach his children, and I'm not going to indenture, meaning that because in the old age, you would take apprentices, and the apprentices, they were like your slaves for 8 years until you would teach them something. So it is like saying, don't charge them $100,000 tuition fee right there for every year of med school.
And not only that, it continues on to impart precept, oral instruction, and all other instructions to my own sons, the sons of my teacher, and to indentured pupils who have taken the healer's oath, but to nobody else.
Okay.
So, does that mean that if anyone else takes this oath, you're now obligated to provide education to them for free?
Well, what it means is that don't slave them just to teach them, and because for a long time, obviously, it was a you would in old age. No, this is the real thing. You need to know the history and that the whole thing of the Hippocrates himself. Okay, Hippocrates. This is a true story and confirmed by many books. Hippocrates wasn't a pretty man. He was short, he was fat, he was ugly. By the way, you know how Hippocrates died, right?
No.
He was put to a trial in old Athens, and he could choose to be exiled or die by drinking hemlock poison and
Mhm.
kill himself. So he was literally condemned to die by drinking hemlock, and rather than he was a rebel in a way. Okay, instead of just going to exile, he chose to die. Oh no, I'm sorry, that was Socrates. Oh, I'm confusing my philosophers. Okay, but no, but what the part that is true that in the old Athens, your apprentice sometimes wasn't only your apprentice.
Your lover.
Well, lover, um, not paid sugar baby or whatever, and it was man, right? So it was very common in the old Greece that um, old philosopher had one young apprentice, almost teenager. Okay, don't judge them by our standard today. And the philosopher was the lover of the young apprentice, and while they are teaching them for years, and more or less it would be their not necessarily slave, but almost like a slave. They would do anything for them, won't get paid. They just would get a place to live and
And food.
knowledge and food and so on and so forth. And they often as well that now this was story about Socrates, not Hippocrates, but Socrates, but Hippocrates probably was the same, short, ugly, but their knowledge was so valued that it's told that people would walk and beg him to be his apprentice and lover and so on and so forth.
So it continues.
But what it says here is that please don't enslave them when you want to teach them.
Mhm.
So you have to understand it in context. Go ahead.
I will use those dietary regimens which will benefit my patients according to my greatest ability and judgment, and I will do no harm or injustice to them.
And that part is that do not primo non nocere, do no harm. Go ahead.
Neither will I administer a poison to anybody when asked to do so, nor will I suggest such a course. Similarly, I will not give to a woman a pessary to cause abortion, but I will keep pure and holy both my life and my art. I will not use the knife, not even verily on sufferers from stone, but I will give place to such as are craftsmen therein.
Okay, now let's dissect that a little. The reason he says he wouldn't do abortion.
Because he can't give someone poison.
No. These are two different things. First of all, in the old time, a lot of poison were as well considered medicine, but as well, they were dual thing. You know, you want to heal your wife, you give her a little poison. You want to kill your wife, you give a little more poison, and so on. They were dual use. Okay, so he says that I don't do it on purpose for you to harm somebody.
Mhm.
But then it says that I don't cause abortion. But that's not what you think. He's not pro-choice, because woman and the child, they were literally the possession of the man. They were property of the man. So he's not going to do abortion because he's not up
Because
to
it's not the girl's choice.
yeah,
It's-
exactly. So
that's-
don't be too excited about that.
Don't worry,
his
I wasn't.
intention. And then it goes that, but I will keep pure, holy both my life and my art, and I will not use the knife.
Because I will give place to such as are craftsmen therein. So,
So
like you said, the
barbers.
barbers.
So
yeah.
But that as well is not like, that's beneath me to cut, because that's a barber's work. So if you're a surgeon and you took a Hippocratic oath, quit being a surgeon, because
Okay.
that's right there.
Here's your favorite part.
Mhm.
Into whatsoever houses I enter, I will enter to help the sick, and I will abstain from all intentional wrongdoing and harm, especially from abusing the bodies of man or woman, bound or free. And whatsoever I see or hear in the course of my profession, as well as outside my profession, in my intercourse with men,
But that's not that intercourse.
if it be what should not be published abroad, I will never divulge, holding such things to be holy secrets.
So that's your HIPAA. But that's not from Hippocratic oath. That's a
Just not sharing
abbreviation.
information about
Yeah,
people.
that's just
I'm
but-
going to help. I'm not going to tell you what I did there, who I was seeing. That's what
that's
it
just
says.
being a good person. Don't go to people's house to hear them. But then if you see they have a problem, go and tell the rest of the world.
Yeah. And this is the last paragraph.
Mhm.
Now, if I carry out this oath and break it not, may I gain forever reputation among all men for my life and for my art. But if I break it and forswear myself, may the opposite befall me.
Okay. So it's a little crude, isn't it? When everybody talks about Hippocratic oath and so on, but it's a little crude, isn't it?
I guess. A
Well,
little bit random.
especially
to
if you
me.
understand
Like, okay, aren't you working?
well,
Why are you?
we have to understand that was the time that people had slaves.
Yeah, but if I had slaves at home and I hired a plumber to come and fix my toilet and I find out he's sleeping with my slaves, I'm going to be upset. Like,
What?
you're here for something else. Do that on your own time, not on my time.
Well, they didn't have really watches then to see, oh, you have been here 2 hours in my sundial. Oh, you had half a
The
sundial.
shadows are getting long.
Oh, the shadows are getting long. But how do you know? Maybe that was the way they would pay them. Like, okay, have sex with my slaves. I don't know how they used to be.
I don't
It
think
wasn't.
so.
We shouldn't. We have to keep everything in the context of what their time was. Okay, in their time, that was not too bad. But he said, okay, it's not too bad, but don't do it. And or that cutting part is that if you cut somebody, they'll mostly die. They have infection and die.
Yeah.
And so don't do that. Don't do that cutting part, okay? He didn't know that we have now a sterile field and all the things that we have and so on and so forth. And but as well, what this is a very practical list of things, do's and not do's for his time that was not only practical but as well useful then. So we should understand that as such as well.
So when people sign the hip or do the hip oath, the I don't know how to
So
say.
you really think in med school we take that oath, what you just read?
No, but didn't you already in the beginning of this podcast say that people are bragging about it?
Yeah, some people are bragging about I took Hippocratic
Okay,
oath,
so
and
in
if you
what
don't take it seriously, you're unethical and so on.
so in what context are they taking it? Are they taking a class and then at the end of the class they take it, or
In most of med schools we have ethics in the first year, or and but I think uh, I don't I myself in my med school I didn't take oath. We have better things these days. We don't need to swear that I'm not going to go in a house and rape their slaves and so on. It is ridiculous to believe that this is the standard in 2026 or in 2020, in the 21st century. This is the standard of ethic of the
well, and now
doctors.
we have, I mean, I'm sure back then there were laws, but the punishment for breaking the oath, it says it right here. If I break it and forswear myself, maybe the opposite befall me. And the opposite would be it's the
Lose my
opposite of,
reputation.
yeah, your reputation. I mean, now we have laws. Like now you go to
Yes,
jail,
that's what I'm
you lose your
saying.
license.
That's why I'm saying we have much better things today, and now certain thing applies, do no harm. But I don't believe the primo non nocere applies only to doctors. It applies to any good human being.
Any
That's the
human,
base of being a human. That do no harm.
I would go
No,
as far as to say most of this should apply to a basic human being. You shouldn't be going into someone's house to do a job and taking advantage of people, period. You shouldn't be making people your slave, period. I mean, I will use those dietary regimens which benefit my patients. I don't yeah, like if you have to feed someone, shouldn't you be feeding them well, not start? I think that every human has
okay.
certain rules.
Actually, this is a very loose translation as well. The original one, or I mean, the original meaning, if you understand the meaning, it's very specific. They don't really apply to anything we do today. Like, the part that it's with the cutting, if you read
This
word
is the
by
cutting.
word, no, but this is a loose translation. The real word by word is if you translate it literally, it's even more obscure than that.
Mm.
Okay. um and but obviously we but that's one of the problems that we have.
Okay, but one thing that we haven't talked about is it was updated in 1964. Do you want to read the newest version that supposedly
But
this is
that's
the
not
version?
Hippocratic oath.
But
That
this
is
is
not a Hippocratic oath anymore. You understand where I'm going?
yeah.
That is somebody in 1960s oath, doctor this and that, or legislator this and that oath. It's not a Hippocratic oath.
I swear to fulfill this to the best of my ability and judgment, this covenant. I will respect the hard worn scientific gains of those physicians whose steps I walk, and gladly share such knowledge as it is mine with those who are to follow, which I think that's still a good message to have. I will apply for the benefit of the sick all measures that are required, avoiding those twin traps of overtreatment and therapeutic nihilism. I will remember that there is art to medicine as well as science, and that warmth, sympathy, and understanding may outweigh the surgeon's knife or chemist's drug. I will not be ashamed to say I know not, nor will I fall to call my colleagues when the skills of another, nor will I fail to call my colleagues when the skills of another are needed for a patient's recovery. I will respect the privacy of my patients, for their problems are not disclosed to me that the world may know. Most especially must I treat with care in all matters of life and death. It is given to me to save a life, all thanks, but it may also be within my power to take a life. This awesome responsibility must be faced with great humbleness and awareness of my own frailty. Above all, I must not play at God. I will remember that I do not treat a fever chart or cancerous growth, but a sick human being whose illness may affect the person's family and economic stability. My responsibilities include these related problems if I am to care adequately for the sick. I will prevent this disease whenever I can, for prevention is preferable to cure. I will remember that I remain a member of society with special obligations to all my fellow human beings, those sound of mind and body as well as those infirm. If I do not violate this oath, I may enjoy my life in art, respected while I live and remembered with affection and thereafter. May I always act so to preserve the finest traditions of my calling, and may I long experience the joy of healing those who seek my help.
Very beautiful phrase and so on. Have nothing to do with the Hippocrates.
I mean, it is it does have the same messages, just reworded, like the doing my best, no harm. I'll apply benefit to the sick. Like you're supposed to teach other people. They just rewrote it. Yeah, it's not his oath, but it's his message.
And so is the message of probably hundreds of thousands of the doctor saying this is a Hippocratic oath is like saying that we are the children of bacteria.
Well, they just feel good. Like they just felt,
It's a feel good thing.
yeah, they,
Yeah.
they feel good when they do it.
But
They feel like, yeah, I'm committing myself to this and I'm going to not break the rules and be a good person. It just
well,
makes them feel
it is like,
better.
yeah, it is like, but I think most of the thing there, what you just read, yeah, it's all common sense and so on. I think if you need to take an oath not to harm people,
I
if
think
that's
other
a,
people need to take that oath.
yeah, I think if a human need to take an oath not to hurt other people, I think we are already on the wrong path.
Yeah, I think that human, if you need to take an oath to not hurt people, you need to be medicated or something.
Yeah, that's just yeah. Or if you need to be reminded, that's no different to remind the people it is against the law to kill people. If being against the law is the only thing holding you back to kill people, is seriously something wrong with you. Not only you shouldn't be a doctor, you shouldn't be free. Actually, I think, in my
Yeah, I
opinion,
agree.
if you the only reason you don't kill people is because or even if you think if the only reason you don't kill people is because God says so.
I was just going to say that some people, I've heard this question asked before, is if you don't believe in God, why are you a good person? Like why aren't
Why
you
don't
doing
kill? Why don't you
Yeah.
don't kill people? Because it is wrong.
I don't
You don't.
want to.
I don't want to. Yeah, that's a good answer.
I would
That's-
never like I feel really guilty when I kill a bug.
Okay, you see about that what it says in the original. Don't talk shit about people, especially if you have a knowledge of people. So, tell me a good person who finds something a weak spot from other people and goes and talks to the rest of the world shit about that person. Show me a good person who would do that.
Well, I think I'm a good person.
But you do go talk shit about other
If
people
certain people, I would say, like for
to
example,
hurt them.
okay, for example, someone I hate right now a lot. You hate this person. Well, I don't know if you hate. You don't like this person either. I'm not going to say because
Okay,
everyone.
now somebody you know. No, no. I'm talking
like,
about
for example, like,
no. I'm talking about like a person you personally know, and
no,
you gain knowledge of their misery or something that's not good that make them look bad. Somebody you personally know, and then even if you don't agree with that, and no, this is different. If knowledge that you have, if you don't disclose it, somebody will be harmed. It is your duty to
yeah,
prevent harm. Okay, but let's say it's just like somebody, let just make it very concrete. Somebody is a drinker, somebody is an alcoholic, but he's not somebody who is going to drive and kill somebody or going to go and do surgery and harm somebody. He's just an old person that
Minds their business and
mind the
doesn't drive
business,
a car,
doesn't drive a car, and so on.
walks
And he
places.
doesn't really need your help because sometimes, yes, he's a drinker, but please go and help him. But see, in your heart, you know why you're disclosing that, okay?
Yeah, you just want to be a little nasty.
So just to be nasty, um, and now, and if you do that and you feel good about it, be nasty to harm them, you feel good about that,
Something's wrong.
something is wrong with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so and that's how I see, that the Hippocratic oath or any of the oath. I think I'm not a big fan of oath. You should have a base of knowledge in 2026 that tells you, okay, stealing is wrong, even if nobody's looking, or not helping people is wrong. Seeing, watching somebody like that's absolutely not against the law, or it's not even unethical. Somebody's car is burning, there are kids there, nobody will fault you not to go run into the fire. But if you can help somebody and you don't help them, I think, and you don't even feel bad about it,
As long
that is then that the character is not against the law, but it's something wrong with you.
yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with signing the oath because it makes you feel good. I think that's totally fine.
That's a feel good thing. That's what
As-
it is.
As a layman, as a patient, would I ever ask my doctors if they've signed the Hippocratic Oath? No. Would it change my opinion of them
No.
if they told me that they did? No.
Well,
I
I
really
didn't
wouldn't.
swear to Apollo and all the gods and goddess for sure.
Personally,
I didn't.
I don't care about this oath. But like you said, I don't think there's an oath I do care about. I think there's right and wrong, and you do the right thing or you do the wrong thing. I don't think saying I'm going to do the right thing, I don't really care at
Mhm.
all. So no, I don't care if my doctor signed this, and I don't care if he didn't sign this.
So in the old time, oaths they had a much more value than today because there wasn't a medical board that would look over your shoulder, or a peer review process that would look at your results, or HIPAA that would say it is against the law. These are the consequences if you go and disclose things. I think taking an oath then was that instant, and literally they had a much higher value. And at that time, we believed in Zeus and other god and goddesses. You see, you start with
Mhm.
because we truly believe that that Apollo would come and stab you if you would break if you take an oath. No, be very clear. You could go and do all those shitty things, and the Greek god they wouldn't give a damn about it. But if you would take an oath, then you would go and do that. Then they would come and like
Come and get you.
beat the crap out of you, and that is what people really believe to be. As a matter of fact, that offending the gods was that was a there was death penalty on offending gods. In almost every culture, has been so. The oath they had, the sort of they were the way our societies would keep people in line.
Okay, this is kind of interesting. About 95% of US med schools do administer the oath at graduation, but it's a modernized version.
Yeah, and this
Or it could be the Declaration of Geneva or a school written oath. So it's not necessarily the Hippocratic Oath all the time.
yeah, and calling that modernized Hippocratic oath is just a truly abuse of vocabulary. But
They're just trying to fit in.
yeah, they're just trying to put a name, a famous
a
name on
trendy,
something.
something that sticks.
And that give me a really a giggle when they say I took Hippocratic oath. Yeah, really? Then that means you don't know what Hippocratic oath is. You don't know what the context was. You don't know Hippocrates. You don't know the all the things that plays a role there to for that to be actually.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that. I think it must have been the poison part
Mhm.
is about assisted suicide.
Yeah,
because I'm just reading this.
you remember that you give the poison to
Mhm,
for you
yeah.
to husband to for your wife. It can heal, but it's as well might put the wife to the afterlife and so on. There's a lot of subtleties there.
Yeah, less than
Ban
10
on surgery by physicians.
less than 10% of schools in the US reference it closely. Virtually zero require the classical version with prohibition on abortion, assisted suicide, ban on surgery by patients, and swearing to Greek gods. So pretty
Okay.
much that's like not there anymore.
So, and that is the great. You can call it whatever you want to call
What
it.
about, do you know the osteopathic oath?
Oh no, I don't know what that is. What is it?
We can do an episode on that next time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think it's a good gesture, but you have to put it in the context of 2,500 years ago, and it had a very practical context, reason, or function then. But again, don't, um, um, especially understand that in this century, this millennia, we have much better things than something that is 2,500 years old, and and always think about that by today's standard, everybody even 100 years ago would have been a absurd, a bad person, and so on. And that is what we always, context always matter.
Okay. Thank you guys for watching. This was Essence of History, and we talked about the Hippocratic Oath. I'm Amanda Armagast.
And Dr. Abbasi for Essence.